But anyway, the other night, the Lakers are in Philadelphia, and JJ Redick looked at the Sixers situation without PG and without Embiid and went, now's the time to get Bronny James some minutes on the road in the first quarter. Didn't go well for Bronny. He didn't look great. Only played 15 minutes, was 0 for 5 from the floor, 3 rebounds and assist a block, -8 for the game. And in a game where everybody was a minus for the Lakers, they looked terrible. Well, so JJ was asked about it afterwards, and he had some interesting things to say. Here's what he said.
Just felt like on a back-to-back, just him giving us energy, I think, was the goal. I maybe put him in a tough spot, flying up yesterday and, nationally televised game and Philly, all that stuff. It's, he didn't play well, but he's been playing great, in the Stay Ready games, and he's been playing great in the G. So I have confidence in him, but obviously didn't provide that at a high level.
Can I just say real quick, he has zero confidence in him. That is the clear. Yes. Okay.
How does he end up in that game? I thought it was a huge indictment of the Sixers, but the way that he's telling it, it's like, this was kind of like, why not? Let's throw him out there and get some energy. I'm confused about how he ends up in that game.
Am I supposed to believe that LeBron James didn't say to somebody like, okay, like it's Philly and I don't know, man. And I don't want to pick on Bronny. He's a super nice young dude, and the few times I've been around him, we've talked about him a lot. It's not his fault that he's not an NBA level player. It's not his fault that his dad forced him out of the team. It's not his fault that he has a helicopter parent who's the greatest player, the second greatest player of all time, and is running things in LA. But your JJ Redick and your answer to why it didn't go well is he had to get on an airplane, as if he's the only player in the history of the NBA who had to fly to a basketball game. I mean, your argument is it was a nationally televised game. Oh, well, that's the threshold. Like most guys, when it's a nationally televised game, forget how to shoot. It's gotten so farcical and embarrassing now that they're not doing this kid any favors playing him a single minute again in the NBA this year. He's not good enough right now, and probably never, but certainly right now.
In junk time, sure, maybe, but but he's not an NBA player. It's pretty obviously not like working out for him. Like you throw him out on the floor in the first quarter of a game that you're trying to win on the road, and I'm like, he just looks lost. He also looks, I don't know if intimidated is the word, but out of place, like definitely unsure of himself. It looks like he doesn't want the ball to come to him whenever it comes to him.
He's physically incapable of playing at the NBA level, size, strength, speed. I mean, I know he's an athlete, but he's not at the level. He's just not, he's not good enough.
He's not big
and
enough.
you make a great point that I hadn't thought of, because it's so overwhelmingly stupid what the Lakers are doing to this kid that it's hard for me to process all of it. It would be unacceptable if he was a member of the Trailblazers or the Raptors and they were still rolling him out there in games that matter. But you'd say they're trying to lose. You're right. The Lakers are in a crazy crowded Western Conference. They're on a good run that you want to and need to maintain. No offense with your team against a Philly team that you need to win. You're playing him in critical minutes of a critical point of the season.
Why?
What are you doing?
Why? Yeah, this season he's 1 of 16 from the floor, 0 for 7 from 3. He's -30 net rating. I just don't get it. I think you're absolutely right. If he played for any other organization, literally anybody else in the NBA, you would say you can't just send the kid to the G League. He's not ready. Right. I mean, like he shouldn't be getting NBA minutes right now. To play for a Lakers organization that has designs on, I don't know, doing something or at least being relevant in the playoffs in the Western Conference, it doesn't make any sense to me. You're doing them in why do we is it just because of his name? I mean, look, okay, so he had the opportunity he was invited to All-Star Weekend to play for the Rising Stars G League kids, or to be part of a unit with LeBron in the skills competition, whatever. He turned both of those things down. So I thought that was a smart decision. Hey, I don't need this extra attention. I'm not ready to do this yet. And yet in a meaningful NBA game that matters for the standings, he's getting 15 minutes. Some of that came in garbage time. Fine, whatever.
Not all of it.
If they're willing to turn down some of the attention, why not just ship him off to South Bay Lakers and leave him there?
So I have a few thoughts. I covered LeBron as a beat guy, and LeBron can get what he wants, but often is not good at managing that power appropriately. And he learned to do that in his own career, but maybe he's lost his compass again because it's his kid. I've seen, this is like deja vu all over again, watching LeBron force things he can but shouldn't, that he wants or thinks are good but aren't. So that's the answer. I think.
Why turn down the All-Star game attention then?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's a really good question. Maybe I don't know, man.
Maybe because they thought it would be too much about him on an All-Star weekend.
Too much hype. And maybe LeBron feels like it would take away, because I don't think LeBron's not a bad guy, even though he's making bad decisions. He's not a bad father, even though he's, I think, making bad choices for his son. So he may, I don't know, but he may just think this would take away from the All-Star game and Bronny hasn't earned that, right? Maybe it's as simple as that. The other thing I find amazing about this is, so obviously you and I both follow the NFL, even though that's not what we do for a living. In the NFL, it is very typical for quarterbacks who aren't ready or able to be drafted high. There's pressure on GMs. They play early, or they have the wrong coach, and they get set up to fail, and they fail forever. It's hard to pull out of that tailspin. And one of the many nice things about the NBA is that isn't necessary. If you're the number one draft pick in a draft and you have a bad first year, no one's ready. Everyone knows that. For some guys, it can take 2 or 3 years to develop. You can be a guy like Giannis where you just show up and you kind of go under the radar. There's just not the same pressure usually for anybody that's not ready in the NBA to go out there and play minutes and get embarrassed. There's a G League, there's a bench, you can usually hide. This is more like a quarterback being he may have had a chance to have a career in the NBA, and there were scouts who thought he did, and you and I discussed this when I went to the Combine. It's over. Bronny James will never succeed in the NBA, most likely, because his dad forced him into situations like against Philly in this game where he shouldn't have been in. And the actual, I think, historical comparison isn't in the NBA. It's where we see quarterbacks who are just crushed and their confidence is destroyed and they're humiliated with their peers and they never recover. That is what LeBron James is doing to his son. I know he loves him, but that is what we saw in that game. It's horrible.
All the more reason to just go park him in the G League. How much culpability here do you have on JJ? Like, do you buy JJ saying, "Hey, that's on me. I put him in a bad spot," because you're ultimately the head coach, and it's not like you're the only one who has agency in that organization. Obviously, LeBron clearly is the number one guy there. But at some point, JJ and Pelinka are having conversations, right? And they had decided, fly him out to Philly. Why not say no? I mean, anybody with two eyes, let alone those two guys who are privy to all of the information that you could possibly have about Bronny James, have to know that he is not NBA ready right now. So at some level, JJ has to take some ownership of this thing.
Yeah, quiet part out loud, and earmuffs for you because you love JJ and I don't know him at all, so I don't have to be nice to him. JJ Redick got the job because he was LeBron's podcast partner. That's why he got the job. Doesn't mean he's not capable. Doesn't mean he's not smart. Doesn't mean he's not couldn't have been great. He works for LeBron James. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, he is the coach of the team. And by the way, most people that have coached LeBron work for LeBron. And if they didn't, Sierra Spoelstra, LeBron left eventually. So, but that's the answer, John, I think. I think the answer is they're not doing this without LeBron's permission. And my guess is that it's probably more impactful. LeBron's being more assertive. It doesn't make sense. And therefore, it has to be LeBron who did it. And to me, and I'm not an armchair psychologist, but the look on JJ's face in that press conference was just, how do I even? Because JJ doesn't disguise his contempt well. He doesn't lie well.
No, he does not.
It's one of the things I like about him, even though it's unlikable and how it's presented. And to me, that was him trying to swallow the crap down that comes with some of the caveats of having this job.